Hello beautiful people. Thank you for stopping by. I thought it was about time that I upload back onto my YouTube channel. So I did start my YouTube channel a couple of years ago and I sort of got distracted over on Instagram, and now I feel like I want to come back to YouTube whilst I continue to grow Instagram. So if you want to join me over there, it's Glam Mum 7 and here it's just Glam Mums. And you can hear in the background a little puppy. Well, he's not so little anymore, but it's my dog Jax. He's a border collie and he's almost fully grown puppy, so he's into everything. Jax, don't do that, leave that alone, that's my work, that's mummy's workies, okay? Don't touch. The other thing I wanted to let you know was if you upload on Instagram, you can only upload a video for 15 minutes at a time. So obviously on YouTube you can go for however long you want. What I want to do is I'm going to basically do this uncut. I might cut out if Jax barks or something like that, but basically I want you to see it from the beginning to the end. And then future videos we can just work out whether we're going to mass edit or whether we just continue on uncut. And I'll wait for your comments either here or over on Instagram to let me know which one you prefer, and then we'll make it happen. Okay, so let's go. Base done. I've actually just gone in with some vitamin C cream, and then I'm trying out the new face primer by Impeccable Beauty, which looks, it's a gel, you know. I wasn't expecting a gel, I was expecting a cream. So it's not too bad. I mean, that's okay, but you know, I guess there's no reason, like there's nothing wrong with a gel. I actually prefer gels in a lot of my skincare because it just soaks in so much faster. The Anastasia foundation is quite matte. I would say it's velvet matte. It's not that matte, but it's velvet. I'm just going to put on some of these Elf Halo Glow drops on to start, just to give my base a bit more of a luminous chance. Oh, I have tried this before. I've tried this foundation before, so I know exactly how it works, and I really do like it. And I'm just going to work this in quickly. You could wear this on its own as well. I've done that plenty of times. It doesn't provide a lot of coverage, but it does give you some. And if you're curious, the shade I am using is, I think it's number 3. Yeah, number 3. Number 3. So I will always put the shades of the products that I use and their names at the bottom of the post. So have a look there and you'll find everything you need. Okay. There we go. So you can see it's giving me some coverage. I don't care that it's a bit darker because I bought it for the purposes of putting it under foundations. So that doesn't bother me. If I was going to wear it on its own, I could still make it work. I would just have to put some bit more concealer strategically around, but that wouldn't be a problem either. Okay, so Anastasia Beverly Hills foundation, an absolutely lovely, lovely foundation. Hyaluronic acid to keep you feeling nice and hydrated. It's got plenty of great ingredients. I wore it for 16 hours. And if I had powdered, it would still look pretty perfect. Because I didn't powder, because I just wanted to see how it went on its own. I had lost a bit from my chin and from probably the sides of my face a bit here, but everywhere else the coverage was still full. I was really impressed, and that day it was about 32 degrees, so I was even more impressed. So I do think it's a great foundation, and if you've heard people say, yo, if you've got dry skin you won't like it, that's not true, because my skin is combination dry. I'd say it's more dry than combination, and I think it's great. So as long as you put on a good moisturizer and a primer of some description underneath, I think you'll be absolutely fine. And put it on strategically as well. Don't go in with your bottle of foundation and put pumps like this, because you'll end up putting on too much and then it won't sit properly on your face. So you want to go in with a little bit at a time. You can always add it up. And the other advantage of doing a little bit at a time is that it'll help your makeup stay longer. I'm sure you've heard people say thin layers. Well, that's what we're doing here. This foundation has a lot of pigment in it, so it's going to be very easy to get a decent coverage without putting on a lot of the product. So what I've got on my face is one pump. My face is here. I've got one pump on my face now, and that's the rest on the back of my hand. So I've almost used one pump. It probably sounded like 1.5 because my pump's a bit dodgy, but that's okay. I can live with that. So you can see how pigmented it is, and you can apply this with a sponge or a brush. It doesn't make a difference. It's preference. As long as your sponge is nice and wet, or when I shouldn't say wet, as long as your sponge is nice and damp, you'll be fine. Just what you do is you wet your sponge, you make sure it's clean, and then you put it under the water and you squeeze it, squeeze it, squeeze it, squeeze it, squeeze it. And then it gets bigger, like this. And then you're going to squeeze out all the water as hard as you can a couple of times. And then when you think you've got all the water out of it, you're going to get a paper towel or a tea towel from the kitchen. And you're going to smack it between those two and try and absorb any other water that might come out. When you've done that, your sponge is ready. So anything under that, you might have problems. Your sponge might drink your foundation because they absorb water. So the idea is you make this to a perfect point where it won't absorb anything. It'll just lay it down. Okay, now that's one coat. And I just don't think I need another one. Do you? I don't think I need another coat. Need to work it in a bit more, but other than that, I don't need another coat. Maybe I could do with a bit more. This is the shade 1.5N, if you're wondering what shade it is. I almost went for 2. I'm using half a pump now just to go around a little bit more. I almost went for shade 2, but I thought, no, 1.5 should be fine. And actually it really was. So last year I tried to be open to trying more foundations that were a little bit what I would consider dark for me. And I was actually really surprised because whenever I'd go to buy a foundation, I'd immediately just go ivory, ivory, like, you know, standard porcelain, ivory. That's all I'd go for. And then I think I got a Dior foundation and I did 00 or 01. And of course it was too light. And I thought, my goodness. So then I started to test darker shades on my skin and found that even though I might be an ivory or a porcelain shade, I do have an olive undertone, and there can be, depending on your undertone, better shades a little bit further up the line than always just going for the ivory and the porcelain. So don't do what I did for years and just assume that you're forever ivory or forever porcelain, because you might end up finding one that's got exactly the same pigment as porcelain, but it's got a little bit more pink in it, so it's better for people with cool skin, which you might have. Don't ever sort of turn your nose up at a darker shade. Obviously try it, test it, all that stuff, but just be open-minded to looking at what the other shades are. They may or may not be worth looking at, but it's worth a shot. Okay. See, I didn't really use much of that second one at all. It's more just around where you know you're going to be resting your face and your hands during the day. And I'll put a bit of concealer on too, so it's not like it's the end of the road for coverage. Okay, just take a little bit down here. So there we go. Now it might look like the foundation is too pale for me. Actually, it's not. It's the perfect shade. Just remember, the idea of a full coverage foundation is to take out all the colors in your skin and bring it back to one base shade. So this has pulled out all the reds, all the yellows, all the tiny little other colors that are in my skin that I don't even think about, and it's brought it back to one shade, which is for me 1.5N. Now what we do is we go back in and we work those colors back up. So that's why if you think it's too light, That's why I'm not worrying. So don't you worry either. Okay, let's go with concealer. This is Natasha Denona, and this is shade number 4. I love this one. Natasha Denona, shade number 4. I'm going to put a little bit on my eye. I like to put some on my nose. Just like that. So I know my areas where I tend to lose the foundation the most. So as long as I prepare my skin for that, I should be fine. Just looking for my itsy bitty blender. It ran away. Okay. Okay, so now I'm just blending all that in. And I'm trying to keep it all to the middle of my face, because that's the part of your face that people will see. So that's the part of your face you want to be as flawless as possible, if that's at all possible. Okay, I'm just going to grab my little, just check my eyes, sorry. Okay, there we go. That's good. Happy with that. Next, we're going to put some bronzer on. And I'm going to tell you a story. Sort of. Okay, so my YouTube channel. Let me tell you what happened, because you'll probably laugh at me. You might think I'm too stupid to do YouTube after hearing what happened, but then again, maybe you'll feel sorry for me. I don't know. Okay, so I upload my videos. Now we're going back 2 years now, or more than that. Anyway, so I'm uploading my videos. I've got Instagram happening and I've got YouTube happening. Except I'm thinking, I've uploaded so many and I've only got 59 subscribers. Like, how does that happen? Like, and it hasn't grown yet because I haven't posted anything else on there. I'm thinking, how is that the way that that's happening? And I was on, I think it was some video that vidIQ or some creator tutorial or something I was watching, and they said something about the classifications, and that's when I realized what I had done. So when you upload a video on YouTube, it will ask you, is your video suitable for children? And I just thought, well, yeah, of course it is. There's no swearing or anything, of course. So I hit yes. Little did I know that meant that my videos would then, by the algorithm, be sent to children, not to adults, or to channels that watch more kids shows. So that was like, yeah, that really deflated me. And Instagram was getting so busy, and I'd met so many really nice people there that I was just enjoying my time over on Instagram, and I still really am, but I know there's a need now to come over here and just get my education back up in terms of education for people, for you, because I'm getting so many questions and you're so limited in what you can put out on Instagram in terms of timing and also content. So I think it's easier to do the more difficult content over here, or the more, not difficult, but the more intricate sort of stuff, the more products, the more, yeah, you know what I'm saying. Why do I drink out of a flask? This is coffee. I don't drink alcohol. I drink out of a flask because of Jax. My dog. He's only, like I said, he's only a puppy, and he gets very excited and sometimes he jumps off the lounge with such excitement he could knock something over, and I don't want that to be my coffee. So I just got into the habit of always putting it in a flask, and I'm so glad I did, because he would have knocked it over. I would have had at least 5 or 6 episodes of spilt coffee on carpet by now had I not done that. So I'm really glad I did it. Okay, so there we go. Got some bronzer there. Now I'm just going to change my brush to something a bit smaller. And something about that size. And then I'm just going back into my bronzer, and I'm just going to very gently add some more to the nose here and also here. So I am contouring, but not everybody can contour the same way. If you're on Instagram or you're on TikTok and you're seeing someone who's got a line down here, a line down here, a line across here, and a circle here at the front, that's actually going to make your nose look longer, and it's going to make your nose look pointier, which, if you have a small nose, might be perfect for you. But if your nose is normal, or if you don't want your nose to look quite so pointy or quite so long, then that technique is not the right placement for you. So you need to just be aware that it's not a one fits all in makeup. There are no real rules. There's theory, but there's no rules. But at the same time, what works for you may not work for me. Okay, now I'm just going to grab now across the front, I'm going to go here and here. Sort of like bringing out that V a bit more. It's only very subtle, really, really subtle, but I quite like it that way. And then I'm just going to get that brush again that I used, and I'm just going to go through my neck down here. Does it look like I pulled my sweater apart? Oh, look, it's dirty. I just got coffee on it. Thanks for telling me. Never mind, that's okay. All right. So just keep working gentle layers until you reach the level of color that you're happy with. And I think that's a good color for me. I can stop there now. Now we're going to go into some blush, and I think today I'm just going to do Patrick Tar, lovely little brush. It's a lovely little blush. Yes, it is. It's very lovely. Okay, so let's put some of this on. Now we need to find another brush. Don't want to use that one. No. No. Don't you hate it when you can't work out what brush you want to use? You've got so many. Yet you can't work out what you want to do, which one you want to use. I mean, how honest to goodness ridiculous is that? Absolutely ridiculous. Definitely not using that one. Okay, we'll use this one. Katie James Hughes. Okay, so in with our very, very pigmented product. I'm going to take some off on the back of my hand, just so I don't get a huge big blob. And then I'm just going, I've used the product before, so I have some idea of how pigmented it is and how it sits on the skin. So I'm not too worried that I've got too much on my brush. But if you don't know how the blush is going to go, it's always a good idea, once you've taken it from here, just to dab on the back of your hand, take off excess so that you don't get a huge amount in one place that you don't want to. Now, I'm just going to take a little bit of this under my eye, but a really small amount. And I'm keeping that to the top half of my face here. So it's coming under my eye but coming down, and I'm stopping where the tip of the brush is where I'm stopping, and I'm coming down like that, and it's sitting between here and here. And then my bronzer, you can sort of see the hollow there. That's where my bronzer sits. And it's not a hollow, it is just a shadow. Okay, happy with that. Now I'm going to try going with some of that powder on the top. Now the reason I'm doing it this way, you might have known Patrick's advertised these blushes to be put on powder first and then the cream. I've got a really big day today, and I know for a fact that I'm going to have to top this blush up. So knowing that, I decided to do the cream, then the powder, and then before I have my meeting later on, I can just freshen up with some cream again, and it should look perfect. Okay, now if you've done a little bit too much, you think it's a little bit too strong, although you could argue there's never too much blush, but if you think it's a bit strong, whatever you put your foundation on with, go into that and then just gently tap over. Just help blend it in as well. That will help it look more flawless. But it will also just calm down anything that you think's a little bit too bright. I think those two colours look pretty good. Happy with that. Let's do some brows, and then we're going to do brows again once I've put some powder on it. I'll show you what I mean. Now this is MCO Beauty, medium, light medium. If you're going to use MCO Beauty products, and they are pretty good, just be careful with their brow products because they are very dark, and a medium is not really medium. I'm light medium, and you can see how dark my eyebrows are. So I would have gone for a medium easily. Well, I did, and it was too dark, so just be very careful. So just going to go over the initial. I lost all my hair when I was in high school. Who didn't, hey? How many of us didn't? There we go. Now I can go in with a concealer and fix that up at any point. At any point I can do that. Okay. So one is a little bit more standing out than the other, which is fine. I'm going to get some of my foundation, my concealer, in the back of my hand here. And then I'm just going to get a very small brush and there you go. Small brush. Just pop it down on here like this. And then I'm just going to go through and straighten up anything that looks a bit out of place. Just like that. If you're getting any value out of this or you're enjoying it, please subscribe. We'd love to have you here. It would mean a lot to me. I don't think I need any bronzer down my neck. No, I think I'm okay there. Okay. Now, I'm just going to put in a little bit of brow gel. This is the Revlon brow gel in medium brown. And I'm just using it up because Jack's chewed it. So I don't want to waste it. Little rat bag there. I think he's cute. All right, now we're going to go and just put some powder on. So to do that, we're going to use some Laura Mercier powder. So we don't want to lose all the work that we've done. Sorry, my slippers went for a walk without me. Anyone else have that problem? I have that problem tonight because Jack's decided to take my shoes and play with them. Now I can't find half of it. Okay, let's get some powder on. I'm going to use a powder puff. I'm going to go into this. This much on my brush. Then I'm going to fold it like this in 3. Now I've got that much on. And that's all I'm going to use. But before I go in, I need to check that everything is sitting as it should. And just blend out any creases or anywhere where the concealer has started to pull. You want to blend all that out. Okay. Then I can go in. And I'm going to put a bit more on for the eyes. And we're pressing that in. Don't forget the tip of your nose. And we're really just going to be doing the inner of the face and the sides here. And then once we've got most of it off, we're happy with what we've done, we're going to grab a brush and we're just going to quickly dust off any excess, because you don't want excess. Okay, now we need to put some powder back into our face, some bronzer. So we're going to start with this. I'm going to go the Makeup by Mario, and I'm just going to go over where I put the cream bronzer, just to give that a bit more definition and colour. You don't have to do this. You don't have to do it if you don't want to do it. If you're happy with the way your makeup looks at this point, then that's fabulous. Leave it that way. Okay. I'm so used to looking at the phone when I'm doing Instagram lives, when I can actually look at my compact when I'm doing something like this, I forget. Strange. Okay, down the side. And across the bottom there. Okay. Now, we're just going to go back into those brows. And I'm going to go in with a more finer, because I have more control. Just going to intensify any that has sort of come off a bit from the powder. Okay, so there we go. I just have to tidy up a little bit. Where did I put that little brush? It's okay, we'll use this one. Okay, I've still got some on the back of my hand here. I just went a bit too low on this side here. This is my, I don't know, they're both weird brows. Just remember, they're sisters, they're not twins. I want to show you a really easy look that is just going to, I wanted to show you the foundation today. That was really important, but you can't just leave it like this with nothing else. I love my dog, but not so much the hair, you know. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put on a little bit of a lip pencil. This one here is by Makeup Forever, and it is whatever walnut. So I'm just going to put a little bit through the just to give my lips a bit of colour, that's all. Okay, now if you put your pencil over your lips all the way, you'll actually help your lipstick, whatever lipstick or colour you're going to put on top, last longer. But you're not going to want to fill in your lips with the tip. You're going to want to put your pencil on the side and fill it in sideways. Otherwise, you'll be there all day. I've had a question about the Cupid's bow, so I'm going to answer it here, and then maybe we should do a Q&A at some point. So this is the thing. The Cupid's bow is very French, and I think it's very French to let it show through, and I think it looks nice. Some people would like to keep it like this. Other people will like to bring it in closer. And have a less noticeable art there. What I will say is it doesn't matter which way, whether you like it a little bit apart or whether you like to just round it off all the way. The further apart you have that edge of those two little bows, the smaller your lips are going to look. So you want to keep them relatively close. And if you're going, you just want a nice M. You don't want anything sharp. You don't want any sharp vertical lines. And you don't want them too far away, because otherwise it's going to look funny and your lips are going to look a lot smaller. Okay, so I hope that answers the question for you, Marie. And I'm counting on you being here to check that I answered it for you. Okay? Okay, let's continue. Let's just put on some. I did it again and you didn't tell me. I spilled my coffee. That's the second time tonight. You haven't told me at all. We need to have words. All right, here we go. So I'm just going to put on a little bit of the Dior highlighter. And I'm just going to go into a little bit of the pink and a little bit of the gold here, these two shades. And I'm just going to tap very gently on the very high point of my cheek. And I don't want to bring it down any, you want to stop about here. That really is only a little bit of real estate if you want to put it there, but you can afford to put it. Only because I think if you take it too close to the eye, up here, you're going to get, it'll accentuate your lines. So you don't want to do that. Now, I think I've done okay. Just be really careful if you do use this product. It is such a beautiful product, but boy, it creeps up on you. I remember I went to my daughter's graduation dinner for her school one day. One of her years. She was like, you know, when they finish school, they have a parents' dinner and everything. Anyway, they did at my daughter's school. I went one night and I wore this. I just got it when it first came out and I put it everywhere, and I'm putting it on at home before I left. I'm like, I can't see it. It's not there. Like I can see it's coming. Like I can see a little bit of the pigment, but I can't really tell that anything's happening. I thought, okay, whatever. So I had forgotten about it and I went off, and in all the photos, my face looks so shiny. It's disgusting. It looks like I just had water on my face because, ugh. So that's when I learnt that this is a very deceitful powder. Very, very good. But you want to treat it with respect, because it does sort of, it packs a punch and it'll come up and bite you really quickly. There's sort of like you can go along and you can be putting it on, but then you will get to a point where enough will be enough and you need to stop. Okay, so let's go and do some eyes quickly. This is the Natasha Denona Gold palette. I'm sure we all saw that when it came out. So I like to go in with my, that's a Sigma brush. Hello, Sigma. I like to just initially go in with my brush, and the problem is I've got the new Morphe brushes, but I can't show you yet because we have to do that in a proper video, which will probably be the next one. Anyway, okay, so what I always do is I like to go into a shade that's pretty neutral and very close to my skin tone, just all over the eyelid before I do anything. What it does is it neutralizes that color, any color that has come through, which it shouldn't, but if your powder's left any colors, or if there's a tiny bit of redness showing through, anything like that, basically it'll make it all one shade like we were when we had our foundation all over our face. And then you have an equal playing field in terms of colour and the way you layer your shadows down and whatever you're going to do. And I didn't powder that, you notice I didn't powder the concealer that I put down. The reason I didn't is because I knew I was coming along with a shade that was very close to my skin colour all over the orbital bone here and the eyelid. So I knew that would be enough to set that concealer, which is why I didn't bother. I could have done with some colour. Okay, so what I'm also going to do, I'm not sure I'm going to go under the eyes, only a little bit with today, but what I'm going to do as well, if you feel like your under eyes still look a little bit blue, or you just want to feel really refreshed, maybe you haven't put enough concealer on, or the concealer wasn't as bright as what you would have liked now that you've got it sort of looking the way it does, go into that same shade you've gone on with your eyes with, and you're going to do the same thing, and you're just going to take that under your eyes. You're going to tap it in, and then you're going to gently rub across. But the first time you do it, you're tapping. So we're tapping it in, and then we can go across. Now, if you do put any shadow under your eyes, that's going to help a lot. It's going to help your mascara not to transfer down as well. But not only that, the eyeshadow is so finely milled that it just won't settle into your pores or into your fine lines the way a powder will, a translucent powder. So it's a win-win. I also use, I usually have one on my desk all the time, the MAC Creme Brulee, which is a very similar colour, just one pot of the Creme Brulee. And that's what I put down every time I do my eyes, a MAC Creme Brulee, without fail. I know where it is because I'm moving, everything's being packed away. Well, not everything, but a lot of stuff. And I'm not going to go looking for it when I can access similar colours at the moment. So that's fine, but just so you know. If you don't want to, if you're worried about using up all your shade in your palette, get an individual one. Even if it's a Maybelline, a Rimmel, Revolution have got them in nearly every palette as well. Just take one of those and use that. That's fine. Now, okay, so we're just going to do something pretty gentle. We're going to go with, I'm going to start with this colour here. This one here. Okay, so I'm going to just tap into that. Now, to put the colour on, what we're going to do is we're going to tap it on, and I'm going to tap it just above my eye crease, just above the crease. And when I've come across here, then I can start blending that in. The reason we tapped it on and we start here, because obviously when you're here, this is the first port of call because you have the most on your brush, therefore it can take a lot. So we're going to start here, basically offload our brush a little bit, tapping. We're going to take the colour across to where we want to continue it, and once we're sure it's all pressed in, then we're going to blend it, and that is going to stop you getting from fallout. It's going to stop you having your darker colour too close to your inner eye. So many people tell me they just don't know what they're doing wrong, but whenever they try and do a halo eye or any sort of just a lightly blended eye, the inner eye always gets darker, gets too dark, and they don't want it that dark. And that's because what they're doing is they're picking up their eyeshadow and they're starting here. You'll want to be doing it here. Tapping it off your brush, offloading the brush, going around, and then once you've done that, you'll blend it. And that way too, like I said, you shouldn't get any fallout. And you'll get a really nice, gentle colour. Now what I'm doing is I'm blending upwards. I'm going to go into that colour one more time on each side. You can see how it's darker here because that's where the most of the shadow was deposited, which is fine. And you can just blend that to however you want it. You don't have to have it completely blended in. Or you can do whatever you like, whatever you like. We're just doing a simple eye to complement the foundation that we're using, that's all. Not really an eye tutorial, but you've got to put your eyes on, ladies and gents. Okay, so we've done that colour. Now what I want to do is something a little bit darker. I'm going to go into this one here. And I'm just going to do exactly the same thing as what I did, except this time I'm only taking it halfway across. So tapping the excess, tapping here to put the colour on, stamping on our colour, stamp, 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 stop. Okay, then we come back. And now we're going to blend, but we're only blending in that tiny area. That's it, and we're blending up at the same time. We're blending up. Not so much in, but up. We're just going to keep doing that until you feel that you've worked the colour in enough that you're happy with. Now that's a question only you can answer because I'm not there. So you have to work out when you've had the colour intensity that you have is the right colour intensity for you. So we've started in that corner there, above the crease, and we're working. We've done that, we've come onto the eye a little bit, definitely onto the eyelid, but we're also here. So I'm just trying to use it so you can see how I'm working the brush. And now I'm gently just massaging it up. Okay. Now I'm actually just taking some now, and I'm going to get a bit more, tiny bit more, and I'm just going to really go above that crease and really just get in there with that shade. I'm not using too much, but really just give it a good old go around in there because my eyes are a little bit hooded. But, you know, and when you're doing this, try and keep your eyes open, because if you shut your eyes, you won't be able to see what you're doing. I've got one eye shut because I've got to blend the actual lid, but once you've done the eyelid, you know, open your eyes, have a look at what's happening. And make sure you're happy with it. And you could use any colours, whatever colour you wanted. We're doing something very neutral. You don't have to do something neutral. You can do something very elaborate if you wanted to. Okay, so now I want to take that brown under the eye as well. So I'm going to get a very small brush, smudging brush, and I'm not going to take that deep brown yet. I'm going to go back into that first brown we went into. And I'm going to run that along the bottom lash line. And it goes on so smoothly because we've already put that other shadow under there. Okay, so we're going to do that again. Okay, make sure they look about even. And I'm just going, that dark shade that we were playing with just earlier, just before, I'm just going to put that at the very back of the eye and join it here. So I've put it just at the very back here, and then take it, join it in there, tuck it away. So we're going to go halfway, not even halfway across, a third of the way across. And then we're going to take it back and tuck it in there. Okay. All that's going to do is help accentuate that dark colour even more, but it's going to bring a little bit of uniform sort of colouring. And we don't want to take the dark all the way along, too dark, because we don't want to close off your eyes. Okay, now last but not least, you can put something here if you wanted to. I'm not going to bother today, but you can if you want to put something else on the lid. You could do the entire lid if you wanted, or you could just do a little portion of the lid, whatever you like. I'm getting over an actual had something wrong with my eye. I don't know, it had a little sty or something, so I don't want to put too much eyeshadow on, because today's probably the best it's been for a while. But by all means, I would definitely probably put something in here, maybe a little shimmer. Not too much though, because our focus, we really want to keep that focus on these outside colors, because we want to show that we're lifting the face. I'm going to get the white from the palette. There is some white. There's a white shade here. So I'm just going to grab that, and I'm going to put that in my inner corner. Keeping it somewhat looking fresh like this too. Sometimes it's nice just to do a look that's not so busy. Yeah, it's all matte, but then, you know, we don't have to be all that plus everything else all the time. And I'm just going to put a little bit under the brow. And I'm actually running that, which you'll notice. I'm starting here. And then I'm just running it all the way under the brow. That's fine. There's only a tiny bit left on the brush. Okay. So that's that bit. Now we're going to go for some mascara. This is not a mascara I've seen mentioned much. This is the Magic Extension from MAC. Came out last year, I think, end of last year. It's a really nice one, but MAC Stack sort of took the prime position, which is fine. But this is a good little, it's a good mascara. It doesn't come off, it won't smudge. The formula is perfect. As in, it's not too wet and it's not too dry. So as you can see, this is a really good lengthening one, and it's not clumpy. Yeah, that'll do. I could stay and play with mascara all day, but I'm sure you've got places to go and things to do. Okay, let's finish this with some Anastasia. This is the Lip Velvet. I'll tell you, I'll put it in the description. Something Hollywood, I think, but I can't read that. I'm blind. I have to get my glasses and have a look. Okay, so a little bit of this. And there we go. So. We didn't see Jax today. maybe next time. He's actually taken himself to bed. He's a good boy. He's a very good boy. Take out my clips. Just fix up the hair a little bit. That's the finished look. And you can see how now that looks a lot more in. I've got glow on my neck. Do you like it? It's probably not the best thing when you've got a matte foundation on, but anyway, looks a lot more uniform now. Perhaps my chest might look a bit out of color, a bit more red. I've just got a lot of lights going on at the moment, but I can tell you in person, it's fine. Have a look on my Instagram, GlamMum7, the photos there, you'll see what a good match it is in the daylight. And that is what really counts, what it looks like in the daylight. Okay, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate each and every one of you. Please do follow, subscribe, leave a comment. All of those things help my channel. And if you haven't met me over on Instagram, GlamMum7, we'd love to have you to the family. And if you're here for the first time, we really hope you hang around. All right, you have a good day and take care. Bye-bye.